Gates takes an oath and opens a door he'd kept shut for years. Epstein, private meetings, alleged leverage and STIs, all questions back on the table. The tycoon says he walked away in time. Leaked emails suggest more to the story. But the question on everyone's mind, why did Bill spill the tea, and more importantly, why now? For years, Bill Gates kept his distance from the Jeffrey Epstein story. On June 10th, he walked into a Capitol Hill hearing room and told a lot of it himself.
I'm glad to be here voluntarily to testify, to help with the committee's work. I'll start with an opening statement in the hearing room. I hope my testimony is helpful to the important work of the committee to find justice for the victims. Thank you.
The Microsoft co-founder appeared voluntarily before the House Oversight Committee, where he acknowledged something he had long avoided saying publicly. Epstein knew about his extramarital affairs and tried to use that knowledge to keep Gates in his orbit.
He sought to use information about my infidelities, in addition to many lies that he layered on top, to pressure me to re-engage with him. He was unsuccessful in this effort, but it shows some of the ways he tried to leverage his interactions with me to further his agenda.
Gates told the committee he first met Epstein in 2011, drawn in by promises of billions of dollars for global health work through the financier's wealthy clients. 5 meetings followed. By December 2014, Gates said the talks had reached a dead end with no meaningful philanthropic support delivered, and he cut off contact. But the paper trail tells a more complicated story. Emails released by the Justice Department, along with photographs placing Gates at a January 2011 dinner at Epstein's Manhattan penthouse alongside banker Jess Staley and former Harvard president Larry Summers, had already raised questions long before June 10th. Gates's ex-wife Melinda had also previously cited Epstein as a factor in the end of their 27-year marriage. Documents also include draft emails attributed to Epstein, containing a series of unverified and disputed claims about Gates's personal life. These include allegations that Epstein facilitated illicit trysts with married women for Gates, that the Microsoft co-founder had contracted a sexually transmitted infection from what Epstein called Russian girls, and that he had helped Bill get drugs to treat it. Gates told the committee he never visited Epstein's island, ranch, or Florida home, and said he never witnessed any criminal conduct.
I never went to his island, his ranch, or his Florida home. I have never victimized anyone.
Committee Chairman James Comer was measured in his remarks to reporters, saying no one was accusing Gates of wrongdoing and that he appreciated the voluntary appearance. But he made clear the questions were far from over. Gates himself had offered a quiet admission to the Wall Street Journal in January, calling his association with Epstein foolish in retrospect. On June 10th, under oath, that retrospect became the public record. The committee's inquiry, now in its 15th interview, is bipartisan. Comer said the next person he intends to call is Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's former criminal defense attorney. For Gates, the hearing closed one chapter. How many remain is still unclear.
Newly released investigative files linked to disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are renewing scrutiny over his ties to some of the most powerful figures in the United States, including Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. The documents were released by the US Department of Justice on January 30th under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, signed into law by President Donald Trump on November 19th. The disclosure, spanning roughly 3 million pages, along with more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images, comes more than a month after the law's December 19th deadline. While the files do not establish criminal wrongdoing by those named, they shed new light on Epstein's efforts to cultivate relationships with influential figures. Among the most closely examined materials are emails involving Tesla founder Elon Musk, dating back to 2012 and 2013. Years after Epstein had been convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor. In one exchange, Musk wrote to Epstein,
"What day-night will be the wildest party on your island?"
The email reflects Musk discussing a potential visit to Epstein's private Caribbean island. The records show Musk explored multiple visits, though there is no indication he ultimately travelled to the island. One planned meeting in 2013 appears to have been cancelled by Epstein due to scheduling conflicts. Musk responded publicly on January 31st, addressing the disclosures on X.
No one pushed harder than me to have the Epstein files released, and I'm glad that has finally happened. I had very little correspondence with Epstein and declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly on his Lolita Express, but was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. I don't care about that, but what I do care about is that we at least attempt to prosecute those who committed serious crimes with Epstein, especially regarding heinous exploitation of underage girls.
The files also include draft emails written by Epstein alleging misconduct by Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, including claims of extramarital affairs and requests for drugs. There is no evidence the draft email was ever sent. The Gates Foundation, responding to the New York Times, denied the claims.
Absolutely absurd and completely false.
The records include claims made by Epstein about Gates. The claims accuse Gates of attempting to conceal an STD from his then-wife, Melinda French Gates, following alleged sexual encounters with women described as Russian girls. Separately, email correspondence shows Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick arranging a visit to Epstein's island in December 2012. In October 2025, Lutnick described Epstein as gross and the greatest blackmailer ever, saying he had cut ties years earlier. A Department of Commerce spokesperson said Lutnick had limited interactions with Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the release concludes a lengthy review process, citing redactions to protect more than 1,000 alleged victims. The files, while incomplete, have once again placed Epstein's network and the unanswered questions around it back under intense public scrutiny.